Hey there, my name is Vaughn, and this is the Vaughncast Show. This is a podcast that focuses on mental health, breaking societal stigmas, harm reduction, addiction, and recovery. If you like what you hear, subscribe and leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, follow the podcast Instagram at the Vaughncast Show, where I post video content from the show. All right, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the Vaughncast Show. Hope y'all are doing well today. My name is Vaughn, and today is a solo episode. I wanted to talk about / rant about nostalgia and how it ruined my life for a few years. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about the fact that I almost have 2 years of clean time / sobriety, no drugs, no alcohol. October 9th is my clean date, so that's a little less than 50 days. I'm pretty stoked about it. And mental health wise, I'm doing pretty well. I attend therapy on a regular basis, weekly basis. I found my therapist through Instagram threads. We had a podcast episode about ADHD, and I felt the episode went so well. I reached out to her and asked what insurance does she take, because I wanted to see if she can be my therapist. So things are going well now. I'm stoked. I'm learning to manage my anxiety a little better, seeing where it came from, that kind of stuff, which leads me to this topic, nostalgia. So the term nostalgia, it means a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically a period or place with happy personal associations. I feel like to a degree we all, I feel like to a degree we all like to look back in the past, right? Throwback Thursdays, flashback Fridays. I like to do that sometimes. I like to post images of what I was doing X amount of years ago to this day. It's fun. It's fun because I like to see how far I've come or what I was doing at the time, certain pictures or memes I post a while back. I can pinpoint where I was at in life and what I was doing. It's cool to look back and see, man, I was living that scene life. I had the long hair, had the girl jeans, barely had any tattoos. Or I look at old pictures with friends. Some people I'm not friends with anymore. We just kind of drifted apart. And I'm like, man, that was a really cool time. Those are really great days. You're partying or getting fucked up. And it felt like there was no worries in the world. 10, 15 years ago, for me, I didn't worry about all the stuff I'm worrying about now. All I worried about was getting fucked up, having a good time, going to work, yeah, going to work hungover, whatever. And it makes me long for that time in my life. It made me long for it. And I want to talk about nostalgia because I really was all about it. Lived in memory lane, walked down memory lane. I stayed in memory lane. I built a little place of memory lane because that's all I was doing. For context, this was my mid to late 20s. It definitely hit because at 30, I thought I had to accomplish certain goals. I started to compare a lot with my peers my age, and I didn't have what they had, and I thought that's what I was supposed to have. And there was this void of like, man, I'm a failure. I haven't done shit in my life. And that's what really fueled me to get high a lot. Also, to certain friendships I had in my early 20s, late teens, I really longed for in my mid to late 20s because I felt like these people would be in my life forever. Things are going great. And I'm like, man, we'll always hang out all the time like we do. Nothing's ever going to change. And I was so wrong about that. And I had a really difficult time accepting that. I would think about, man, I remember so and so in my life. We were so good together. I don't know what happened, or maybe it's my fault, or if I could have done this or done that, maybe things would be different today. Or like a fling that me and the girl had between me and the girls. Oh man, she was so hot. We had a really cool connection. I wish he'd call me more. I wish he'd come back and, hang out at my place or something like that. That kind of stuff. And it really bothered me for a long time because I couldn't accept it. That I couldn't accept that things were different and I could not accept change. I had a really hard time dealing with that. That people moving on, I was stuck in this bubble, this like, oh, the good old days, you know, because now today sucks. So I was dealing with that a lot in my mid to late 20s. And it wasn't healthy. I felt like I just lived for I felt like my current life was shit. Let me time travel to the past. Obviously, I didn't think I could literally time travel to the past because you can't do that. But when you drink or take drugs, that was like my way of traveling to the past. I couldn't go back to the past, but I could relive those feelings by using. Because back then I would party, and now it's like, well, I can relive those moments by feeling the same. I had an issue with this for a few years. It consumed my life, and now I'm better at it. I'm better with it. But for a long time, it was just living in the past. I would scroll through old pictures and like, man, I miss this shit. And it's so weird. I didn't want to be this person, that kind of person. I didn't want to be like Napoleon Dynamite's uncle. I don't know if y'all have seen that movie, but I saw myself being that guy. All I would do was just quote unquote relive the good old days or just reminisce about them and think how horrible my life is presently in the present. And how I got over that little by little was just making new memories. I was able to make new friends over time. I was able to accept that some people in your life, no matter how close you were in the past, that you drift, and that's okay. I think I really had a hard time accepting that, you know, really good friends sometimes they drift apart. I think I don't know if it's a codependency issue, but I really felt like my happiness was sometimes like linked to me and her friendship kind of thing or our relationship. And over time, I was able to let go of that little by little. But what helped me, I think, really helped me a lot was cutting down on drugs and alcohol and eventually stopping. Right. I think when I stopped drinking and partying, it was like, oh shit, I got to get over this stuff or just let it be. Uh, Through a 12-step program, I was able to be more accepting of how things are. You learn to accept the present. And I'm, you know, it's not easy, but I'm learning that, hey, it is what it is. You know, in a way, honor those memories by, hey, this was a good time in my life. It was fun, but I'm making new memories now. And it's not always easy. I sometimes escape to the past when things are stressful. I still do to this day. Like the other day, I was bored, I think. And I'm like, man, it'd be really fun if I, got high. I thought about all the times I got high. I was on the phone earlier this week with a friend. He reached out to me. We were chopping it up. And we were talking about all the good times we had partying. Like, oh, remember we go to this place or that place, man, we were so fucked up. And that was fun. That was so fun to relive for the moment. Like, man, we really had a fun time. Like, it was a blast, dude. Like, yeah, sometimes we're shitty. We're like, you be coming down or haven't slept in like a few days, but man, those are really good times for him and I. And, like, I told him, like, man, I kind of want to get high right now. This is so fun. And he's like, nah, man, it's not worth it. And he's right. You know, it's not worth it. But it was just fun to relive that. But sometimes when I am stressed out or bored, I want to escape the present. And I don't think there's inherently anything wrong with that. But like to a point where it consumes your life, I think that's an issue. And just through therapy, through a 12-step program, and just living day to day, learning to let go over time, it's what's helped me not be in that phase anymore. Helped me not be Napoleon Dynamite's uncle. Because there'd be so many days or nights that I get fucked up because I couldn't accept the present. I didn't like where I was in life. And I thought the only thing I could do was to go back. I was so used to that. And it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me. And I had to learn to kind of just sit with it and accept it. That, hey, that was the past, man. You gotta like find things to be you're grateful for now. I gotta think that, hey, like for example, yeah, I got almost 2 years clean and I still miss that part of my life where I was partying and having fun. But that was the past and I gotta think like, hey, there's good things going on in my life. I think one thing I kind of learned to that helped me snap out of it was the good things that's going on right now. And sometimes there really aren't too many good things, but I had a roof over my head. I have some food in my fridge. I'm healthy to a degree, kind of thing. Like that was my thing. And you meet new people. I feel like when I was so in that mode, I really didn't want to meet new people. I was just like, man, I'm just kind of stuck in my ways. These are the only friends I have. These are the only friends I had. And then you get out of your comfort zone. You meet new people in person or online, and you you start living again. Make new experiences, make new memories. And it's not easy, but I think that's another thing that helped me was just to make new memories. Like, hey, that was the past now. What are we doing today? And yeah, I just wanted to rant about that, talk about that, because I feel like that's I want to I like to think it's common. I'm not the only one that thinks about these things, especially like I think also too another thing was is that I felt I had to do certain things by a certain age or I'd be like a failure or something. And I think that's what created this need to go back and think about the past all the time. When I think everyone has a different path, everyone's goals are different, and certain goals take longer than others to achieve. And once I stopped comparing myself to other people and just focused on myself in that way, it also got a lot better. Because when I was comparing myself to other people, I created this feeling of unworthiness. I told myself, like, man, I'm not at that level yet because I was comparing myself to another person. I don't know their backstory, I just see their accomplishments in social media. But once I kind of focused on myself, like, hey, you went through this and that. It's going to take a while for you to, you know, heal from that, and that's okay. Just focus on yourself. Once I was able to do that, I feel like I was uh, I was more happy in life because I was only comparing myself to my past. At the time, yeah, my past seemed a lot better, but I learned to make new memories, make new friends. I learned that I can live life without drinking and partying. That's a big accomplishment. I'd say that's my biggest accomplishment the past few years. I never thought I could be able to do that. There's more like confidence and just life does get better. And I think part of that is just accepting the present. There's a line I think by the Architects and Bring Me the Horizon. They have a song and part of it goes like, "You're living in the past like you're 6 feet under." I would definitely relate to that line. And and now I'm so glad that I'm out of that bubble of the like always living in the past because I have stuff to look forward to. I have stuff to be thankful for today. And now I'm 36 and I'm turning 40 in a few years. Yeah, there's a little bit of anxiety there because, like, turned 40. When I was young, that's like really old. But I feel like I'm accepting it a lot better than I was when I was almost turned 30. I feel like I'm cool with it. This is me now. I'm a little more comfortable in my skin. I'm doing things that I've always wanted to do on my own pace, and it feels good. I think that the younger me would be proud of myself of what I've accomplished, my personal life and, school and work and all that stuff. So, yeah, um, yeah, man, nostalgia is fun to look back, but hey, there's life past that. We just have to make new memories and be thankful for what we have today. Because when we're not thankful for what we have today, we only think the good things happen in the past. And also, too, good things happen in the past. What makes us think good things can't happen in the future or now? Because when I was in that really nostalgic phase, I was unable to see the good in my life, the people that were in my life. I was compared to, oh man, this person or that person is not my life, and kind of neglected the people that were in my life for the good things that I had going on. And And I just wanted to touch on this topic, talk about it because I don't know. Again, I feel like it's a common thing. There's such things like a midlife crisis, the quarter life crisis. I feel like the difference from 10 years ago now is that I kind of know where I'm headed. I have a better sense of direction and that my decisions aren't clouded by drugs and alcohol. I still got problems. I still go to 12-step program. I still see like therapists and attend 12-step meetings, but I feel like I'm more confident in who I am. I'm more comfortable in my skin. This is who I am. This was my past. And it feels good. It feels good to be able to say that about myself and acknowledge how far I've gone, how far I've come. Therapist told me that, a lot of times we forget how much we've gone through. I still got problems that happen to this day. I'm dealing with a lot of things. But I tell myself, you know what? At least I tell myself, hey, years back, you were in a lot worse shape and you somehow managed to survive. You managed to get by. And this problem now, yeah, it sucks, but it's not as bad as it was back then. And because you were able to make it out of your situation years ago, you'll definitely make it out, get through this situation you're going through now. Also, to me too, it's like I always want to get things like resolved right away, or I'm waiting for better days, and I am, but like it takes time sometimes. You know, um, it takes time for things to get better, and I'm still learning to be mindful of that. Some things don't get better overnight, and that's something I have to be mindful of because a lot of times I want to rush. I want to get through the bad part right away, as anybody does. That I get discouraged because things aren't going well when I wanted to. So, yeah, that is my nostalgia episode. I apologize if I was kind of all over the place, but it's something I wanted to get out there, especially if you're within my age in your 30s, if you can relate, if you're in your 20s, you know, uh, life does get better. There's more to life than just your 20s. I know society really highlights like the youth, fetishizes the youth culture. Right when you're a certain age, you're kind of like, kind of whack kind of thing. That's what I thought when I was growing up. But hey, you can have fun like when you're a lot older than you are now. Maybe it's different types of fun. I was scared. I remember one time it was just such a fucking weird thing, dude. So I was drunk a long time ago, and I rode my bike to Jack in the Box, and they're like they wouldn't they wouldn't take my order on a bicycle. Luckily, the person behind me, she was super nice, and she let me put my bike in her van, I ordered the food, and then she dropped me off at my place. That, looking back now, like, dude, that is fucking trippy. What the fuck? Like, this happened like in 2008, 2009. It was so fucking trippy. But I asked her too. I asked her, like, man, like, what's it like just doing a 9 to 5? Because I was so scared of it, kind of thing. Like, I was getting older. Do older people like have fun? She's like, yeah, I just like do stuff on the weekends. And I don't know why I brought that up, but that just shows like how I was so scared, of turning 30. And I remember when I worked in retail before I was 30, I asked somebody like, man, I'm turning 30 soon. I'm like getting all anxious and everything. And she's like, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. I know it's kind of trip sometimes, but just do you. You'll be okay. It's fine. It's just a number. So, turning 40 in a few years, turning 37 in December. So, I'm just like really doing my own thing, man. Just being focused on my goals, not anybody else's. And things take time and things will be okay. So, with that said, hope y'all enjoyed this solo episode. I think next week we'll have a guest on. And I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And remember, hey, we got a life going on right now. On some weird, deeper shit, like there's some people that didn't wake up today. There's some people that can't even, like, you know, I sometimes I think about this, that some people didn't make it today. Some people didn't wake up. If you're listening to this, obviously you woke up today. And that things may be tough now, but you'll get through it. Might not feel better today or tomorrow, but eventually you get over it. Now let's be appreciative. Let's appreciate what we have right now, the people in our lives, what we got going on, because some people didn't make it today. So with that said, have a good one. Take care.